Jesus said, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." And he said his word is sweeter than honey and the honeycomb. It's only when you've tasted the honey that you can tell someone else how tasteful that tasty that honey is, how sweet that honey is. And it's only when you've tasted the words of the Lord that you can then say it is definitely sweeter than honey. Revelation revealed is knowledge received, right? Revelation revealed is also understanding received. Understanding imparted and understanding that must be received. They might hear you talk and they might say, you have this beautiful words of wisdom, this one-liners, these statements that you say. How do you come up with them? Where do they come from? Huh? And all I can say to you is this. If you have continued to sit with the one whose words are sweeter than honey, when you open your mouth, you will speak. You will also release the sweetness of what you've tasted. When you sat with one who's certain level of thinking and mindset in a certain way, when you come and walk out and do things, you're going to begin to abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That canopy of the presence, the atmosphere of the presence, the value of it influences me, influences my value. Me as a person influences my identity, my level of influence. Because the presence is that valuable that anything that touches value. Value spills out of the presence. So when you say taste and see that the Lord is good, it means that it's already valuable, but you can never know what it is until you actually go and drink of the fountain of that value. You will know you by sour sweetness, soul water. You will know the sweetness of the words of God. Hallelujah. When you have drank from the cup of that sweetness, you go, it is beyond words. So then your level of conversation and your level of articulation, those great revelations, how did you get that revelation, they say? No, you weren't just trying to be very eloquent, It does come across that way. Because where the wisdom of man stops, God's foolishness is. That God can never be more foolish than the wisest man. So where the wisest man stops, you've just met the bottom line of what God is. That's how good, that's how valuable God is. That you can mount up all the wisdom of this world, and God will say, you just come to the starting point of what is trickling out from His presence. You use the word, you talk about identity. I find myself in Him, you said. That is very true, because one thing about one of the blessings of the presence is coming into a full revelation of who you are. Who you are in Him and who you are. Because who you are is in Him. So you come to know about yourself, what He ordained you for, what He called you for. He begins to show you your purpose, the meaning of why you are thinking. You said, "Oh, why, Lord? I have certain characteristics and traits. Are they normal?" You ask yourself, and when you go into the presence, the Lord will then say, "Yeah, I just need to sharpen and mold this little bit." I said, "But I can't." He said, "But I can't touch any more than that. I just only have to utilize what I created in you, because that's the way I made you to be." So the presence is identity as well. We go to meetings, right? Sometimes we judge. We all do it. Like we judge the meeting by the person hosting the meeting, or the people hosting the meeting. But then if we wanted to go to then level up, we wanted to go, no, we're coming because of the presence. Then our attitude and the way we gear ourselves for that meeting will be just different. It won't be just we're just coming to this meeting because he's an international speaker. No, we go more than that. We're coming because there is something we have to grab. We have to encounter, we have to experience, we have to take for ourselves. So the attitude which we bring out, how we honor, that level of honor when we come to the presence. Honor is access, as I often say that honor is access. So the level of value I give to something is the honor I am giving to that thing. If I value His presence, and then I come and give honor to His presence. Certain important people in the world, like the King of England, before it was the Queen of England, the King of England. Kings practice protocol. They have certain way of doing things. So they have protocol officers who follow through with certain ways of things have to be done in this way because that's how the king wants it, or that's the way it's ceremonially practiced. You follow? So when we come into God's presence, God also has a protocol. When we come, we follow the protocol. We follow the way in which He wants to be entertained. And therefore, we value those requirements to meet Him. When you go to a concert and they say the concert is $10 at the gate, because you value the concert, you want to come and be a part of the concert, you have to pay the value of it at the gate. You pay the $10. You're meeting the requirement to be in that meeting. What's the requirement to be in God's meeting? We talked about the presence. We talked about honoring the presence. We also have to talk about honoring the way the Lord wants to meet us. Our attitude of worship, coming into His presence, worshiping Him, honoring Him, loving Him, giving ourselves to Him, being there until His word enters the room. Okay, that part, being there until His word enters the room, is the part where, because we are not familiar with the value of His presence, we can miss that part. Because like, His word hasn't entered the room, but I'm just going to pray for these 5 people because that's what church do. That's what Pentecostal people do. These 5 people, can you come up? I start to conjure up things that didn't come out of the presence. It's like, I sent you to go get the diamond from the mountain where the diamond is. You went halfway and you met a trader. And the trader said, don't have to go all the way to the mountain. That's a very long way. The trader will say, just buy this fake one, and when you go, just tell your boss that, or tell your owner, or tell the person who sent you that this is the diamond I got from the mountain. So you get an imitation, a fake one, a counterfeit of the real one, because you didn't consider it valuable, your time valuable. You didn't consider the journey valuable to go up to the mountain to get that diamond. He said, no, I have an imitation of it. Don't worry, he won't even tell it's the real thing. They won't tell it's the real thing. Take this one and go and give it. So that's what we are doing to God's presence. We're not going up to the mountain. Halfway through, our conscious or the soul person, what we know of is telling us, don't have to go there. It's all right. Just turn around and start praying for people. Start showing that you have the value now. No, but the value Himself, when He steps in the room, He lets you know. I think one other question to ask is, can the glory be carried? Can a person live in that place again? Yeah. And if the answer is yes, that means then we are then determining that we can attain to that level of value. Yeah. But if a person if the person within themselves says, no, the glory can't be carried, then they will settle with something less than it. Then the value that they pursue will be way less than what He wants to give to them. I also find this one thing about the characteristic of the presence is the presence of the Lord manifested is the mind of God impressed upon a place. Is the mind of God that influences that place. And when I mean by influencing that place, as soon as the presence of the Lord manifests, all the things you were trying to think vanishes, gets put aside, put somewhere there, and the thought of his intent becomes yours. It becomes your focus. It becomes your honor. It becomes your admiration. It becomes your worship. It becomes your value. And you then Peter then said to Jesus, where can we go? For you have the words of life. So when that word, the presence of God comes into the room, He influences the intent, the mindset in that place. And you said a statement that triggered the thought is that a minister in the room had said, oh, I feel the presence of God. I'm just using this as an example. And the other 5 in the room go, because they didn't feel it. Do we then believe that minister that says, I feel the presence of the Lord? Or do we go, okay, let's try tune in because he might be there? I think if the minister if it was a genuine reaction to the presence, and we go, okay, so we all then come into, okay, it's felt the presence. Maybe we will pick up the same signal. And I like that Bill Johnson talks about, in his book here, Face to Face with God, he talks about, he likes hunting. So when he takes his dogs out, and one of the dogs will pick up the scent, and the other dogs won't pick it up. But then they will follow that dog who's the lead dog. And they will follow him until they get close enough where they themselves too will pick up the scent. And then they know that, okay, yeah. So sometimes a person like that who's accustomed to the presence, who's familiar with discerning the presence, knowing the presence, then as we begin to lean in, we lean in enough and we give honor to that place and we go, oh, yeah, I can feel it now. He might say a prayer and then we lean into his prayer. He might sing a song and we lean into his song, right? And that's how we participate and partake of the Lord, deciding to come into the room through that person. Okay, but then let me go slightly differently here now, on a different, just a little bit different thought. Say that he claimed, oh, I feel the presence, and the 5 others too knew the presence, right? They understand how the presence comes. But when he said it, they're going, you sure? You follow? So then how can they then be serious about his claim of he feels the presence? They might have said, okay, we don't feel the presence, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll just allow him, maybe then the presence being the anointing, maybe then he's appointed to minister something. So they tend to say, okay, what's the Lord telling you then? You know, the counterfeit aspect of it can be present too, where the pastor says, I feel the presence. So they try to force, influence the mind of the room, saying the presence here, and then they try to, stir it up. We use the word, stir up the faith, stir up your prayers. They try to get everyone into that place, or they start to try to pray for people. They go and they start praying for people, and they're pushing them down because they're like, no, the presence here. But I think the authenticity of the presence, the real presence, is first fellowship and relationship. That when he comes, then it's like I said earlier, it's his way of saying, I've come to enjoy that conversation that you're having. I want to be a part of your conversation. And all of a sudden the whole room feels him, because they're now feeling his delight in the room. His presence manifested is his delight manifested to us. He's delighting in the fact that we have come in the correct posture to receive him. And so when he starts to work, people start to react to the presence. Then we don't have to try to force it now. We just flow with him. And when he comes into the room, he's like, thank you for running the meeting. I'll take over from here.